Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. Well, as much as it drives Fuzzybutts all over this big old world of ours, absolutely crazy when they hear me say it. I am the host of the show, your big dog, Luke Robinson, back again with you this week. And look over there next to me, who's back with us. It's Ginger Morgan. She's the co-host and co-producer of the Fuzzybutts and Friends, and she's also the executive director of the Puppy Up Foundation. Ginger, how are you?
I am doing well. It's nice to be warm and not frozen in here in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, we always have to talk about the weather. Start that out. So all the fuzzy butts here are happy that they can not stepping on that icy snow and slush.
Yeah, well, in this case, that snow system, that snowstorm seemed to sweep and blanket the nation, and I went down to Texas briefly to see my family, amongst other things, this past week. But it was even cold there, but finally it warmed up, and I got back here and was able to take Indiana out and to the vet today. He's doing better. Just update everyone on Indiana, because I know we have some of our listeners who love Fuzzybutt number 4 and like to hear about him. So he was up and walking around at the vet clinic looking to get into trouble. Actually, he was looking to leave Dr. Angie's office. He's dropped a little bit of weight, so the good news, that's good news for him, because now I get to cook. He gets a little extra brekkie breakfast, maybe a midday snack, and also some extra food in his supper time. So Indiana's doing well, and thank you for everyone who has been following him and has been posting about him and his improvement. All right, Ginger, this is a brand new. Wow, we wanted to do some new things for season 3 for all of our listeners, and this being episode 3, we wanted to start out something entirely new, and we wanted to do Fuzzy Butts in the news. You know, Ginger, we don't really talk a lot about some of the current topics and things that are going on in the news unless we actually have somebody to come and talk about it. And so we're doing that brand new. We're probably going to do a couple of these every season. So we're current, whether it's, we talked about how we wanted to use our platform, Ginger, for sure, to announce dog food or pet food recalls, right? Uh,
Correct.
it's so important. In some cases, we've had some of our companion animals pass away from some of the whatever happened, whatever went wrong in the quality control process. So we are going to have these a couple of times during the year, and we also want to do some fun things with this as well. But before we get to Fuzzy Butts in the news, we have for the first time, we've got another first for episode 3, and I have to thank you, Ginger, as the co-producer. You put together this together. Well, we have known this sponsor. We now can say that this episode is sponsored in part by Genie's Therapeutics. Ginger, you have a bottle right there with you.
I do. I feel like Vanna White.
If you've also been following this show and Indiana's progress, Indiana, he has peripheral neuropathy, and in part by inflammation and arthritis. And he's just old age. He'll be 13 this year, knock on wood, and knock on his big old wedge-shaped head, I guess. So we were fortunate enough to find out. Well, we had Genie's Therapeutics. We did an episode with them, and we put Indiana on Genie's Therapeutics. And Ginger, I got to tell you, there's a tremendous difference, because there have been a couple of times when Poppy, your big dog here, has forgot to ask you for some more Genie's Therapeutics. It's CBD. I think I failed to mention that. My apologies. It's CBD. It's a wonderful, wonderful CBD formulation. The bottle that Ginger showed you. It comes with a dropper. It's got a beautiful packaging, by the way. It's a wonderful box. We need to, in that next episode, we need to have their beautiful box.
Okay.
Comes with a dropper, and you just measure it out. Also comes with dosing in there. And I think we've been underdosing Indy, because bad Poppy. I always seem to get things wrong. But anyway, there are a couple of times I forgot to reorder. And sure enough, Indiana went without it for a couple of days. And, Ginger, I just noticed there was a noticeable difference in his mobility. So, I've got to say I know enough about cannabis and CBD products, and they can be idiosyncratic. But we've tried a couple different formulations of CBD, but Genie's Therapeutics for Indiana is legit. It's wonderful, and I want to send a shout out to them. Thank you for sponsoring the Fuzzybutts and Friends. Thank you so much, and welcome to the Fuzzybutts and Friends family. All right, did I do a good job promoting our first sponsor?
You did a good job promoting our first sponsor. Yes,
I,
next time I'll have the beautiful box. See,
yeah,
that gives me something. I'll just rotate it. Okay, so we'll do the box. We can do the instructions. I've got this now.
exactly.
White.
And I just want to make sure I didn't screw things up because that we certainly don't want to screw up the sponsor part of the show. So
No, we don't.
all right, and I'll watch this back and make sure that that it doesn't. Anyway, I'll double check when I watch the episode when we go live with it. So all right, let's get to the news because this is exciting. It's we've never done before, and we have actually a number of topics to cover. And I've got it over here. I've got several pages of notes. And all right, first up, I want to go ahead and share these. I want to mention that I got these from Twitter or X, formerly Twitter, and hashtag Canine News. And then I did a couple of other sources, including ChatGPT. Let's go ahead and share, see if we can share the screen. Ginger, this is something I almost always seem to.
This is where you always mess up. Not where you almost.
All right.
This is where you always mess up.
Well, I have so many things going on. Typically, my laptop, the home screen, it's a mess. I usually have three different applications of I've got Safari, I've got Chrome, and I got about 1 million tabs. I've got multiple projects, as you know, so I'm typically a mess, but we got it up now. And so the first bit of news I think is we've known about it for a while, but we've wanted to talk about on our show, Ginger. I think we were trying to get maybe a panelist of experts to come on the show and talk about it, but it never happened for whatever reason. So we wanted to start off the show. And Ginger, why don't you go? This particular news item is from Laud News. Ladue News. I hope I got that correctly. My apologies if I did not. And Ginger, as you know, some of the kids here in the Morgan Manor, they were afflicted, or what we believe to be affected by this influenza that's canine influenza that's sweeping the nation. So go ahead and tell us about this news article. Tell us what we know.
Well, okay. So in the article, it lists the symptoms, and I may add some to them from what I saw with my dogs. So the illness starts out with a coughing, nose and eye discharge, sneezing, loss of appetite, being lethargic, difficulty breathing. That was what started out Luke at the Morgan Manor. Was I believe it was Mayberry wound up getting ill and coughing, and I took her to the vet, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, put her on antibiotics, and she didn't really respond to the antibiotics. We had her on them. Then Lolly got it, and then Lily got it, and I believe it was Lolly and Lily's that turned into pneumonia, which is what the article is talking about as well. And the article also says that it doesn't really respond well to antibiotics. They think it's a virus. At first they thought it was like a kennel cough, Bordetella type thing, or some kind of strain of that at my vet. And according to this article, it doesn't really look like they still know exactly what it is. And it also says it took, I remember with Lily, she started coughing. Now my kids got this last spring, like March, April, and May. With, like I said, with Mayberry being first, and then Lolly, then Lily. And I remember exactly when Lily started coughing because I was headed to the walk in Madison. If you remember, I think you even took her to the vet for me. So that was the first part of May, and she coughed until probably sometime in July. And she went, I think she was on antibiotics again for like a month, but the antibiotics really didn't do anything. And what we could tell from, from her for the dog response in my house and what the article says. I think Lily, they may have wanted to put her on more antibiotics, like I said, and the article says nobody knew what it was. So we were just kind of giving them antibiotics. But I think had I taken Lily back to the vet, they probably would have wanted her to put her on another round of it. But I just didn't see the point because it didn't seem to be doing anything for it. So they have a list of things in here for dogs that could be most affected by this. One, short-nosed dogs like Frenchies, and I would think like Boston Terriers, but also dogs that are older, which is all three of my girls that got it. Lily being 15, Mayberry was 13, Lolly was 10, all at the time that they got them. And then, if they have any other illnesses, it's their immune system is going to be weak. And so anything's going to get them. Also, it listed to stay away from dog parks, dogs you don't know, dogs that might be ill. And anytime that you're playing with one dog and you go to the next, wash your hands so you're not spreading anything potentially, because not those symptoms, they may be sick before the symptoms actually show up, which is what I think was probably with Lily. But the other thing is water bowls. Make sure they don't drink out of, a water bowl that dogs that you don't know have been drinking out of. And, this, for me, I would say monitor your dogs because you want to catch it soon, sooner than later on, everything. We're always talking about early detection, but I think Lily coughed once when we took her to the vet. So that is what the article has to say. Just watch your dogs. If you have any of these symptoms, then take your dog to the vet.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. Well, I did do some additional research. I went to VCA's website, and if you can see the link, that's it. Or I'm sure you could just get on Google and look up VCA hospitals canine influenza. And so just a couple of things that I wanted to just highlight and go over with you, Ginger, and also point out and confirm. As you know, they're saying in this article, VCA is saying, we love VCA, by the way. They do a lot of wonderful research, and we love Dr. Phil. They're saying that that the influenza, canine influenza, is 100% infective. That if you're exposed to it, the infectivity is 100%. That's the infectivity rate. So,
okay, look, let me interrupt for just a second because this virus, that contagious canine virus that's going around, they're not saying that that's the canine influenza.
it's not the canine influenza. Oh, good.
No, they don't know exactly. They don't know exactly what it is.
Huh.
So it's not necessarily the flu because the canine influenza has been around for a long time, but this is something that's like not, they haven't been able to identify. It presents itself as 2 or 3 different things, but that's not exactly what it is, I guess, once you're looking under the microscope at it. Like I said, it looks like it's a Bordetella type thing, but it doesn't respond to the antibiotics like normal Bordetella would.
So was it responsive to antibiotics? Because we know that the virus.
No.
So, okay, but it's not a virus. That's interesting. Well, that's my apologies, my bad. But that happens when I sent you an article and I did my own research, and I really didn't. I didn't read what I sent you and drilled down on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't I mean? It would be great to get some people then. Let's try that again then. If it's so unknown, and if it's origin unknown, then I would like to try again to get a panel of people in to talk about it, because I do know there is. I had asked you this, and I did. From another source, I did find that specifically what you're talking about, the fatality rate is around 10%, which is very, very high. It's a high mortality rate. So with something that's so serious and of unknown origin, then yeah, that's a that's disconcerting, right? Um,
Definitely.
all right, we'll follow up on that. Whether we can do a separate episode with a panel of experts to come in and clarify this and give you as much proper data as you need as dog dads and dog parents. We'll put that together. All right, let's move on to the next one because this is like hot off the press because we just did an episode this past week and. Episode 2, as a matter of fact. And Ginger, I thought, wow, this is relevant. It's shocking since we just did an episode on this with Karen, with Karen's
Yeah.
Canine. And she also has Talk Dog to Me. That's her line. And we were just having a conversation about puppy mills. And Ginger, it seems like that Indiana, the legislature there just passed a bill to bring back and allow puppies back in pet stores. So just to summarize it, that they're bringing puppies back if I guess if the pup I guess the breeders they call them breeders, of course they don't refer to them as puppy mills. The breeders are canine care certified, or something equivalent to that. And so, Ginger, first off, this is concerning. I'm sure that's got a lot of people angry in Indiana because I think that sets everything back. And
Yeah, it
but
definitely sets everything back.
yep, it does. It's bad news. And but that just leaves so much leeway for interpretation and people to circumvent the law when you use legal language like that. If they're canine care certified or something equivalent, it's not maybe not the correct terminology, and I don't want to get into legalese. We've got this from WIBC.com to attribute it to them appropriately. You can link onto this what this canine care certified means. I don't really, or otherwise responsible breeders. That's the
Uh,
terminology. And that's, as you know, that just leaves so much to interpretation. That leaves
you
so.
know,
Go ahead.
uh, so look, we have a mutual friend who unfortunately lost her black lab a month or so ago, and she started looking for another dog, and it just so happened that the breeder that she got the black lab from had another yellow lab, and it turned out that her responsible breeder turned out not to be so responsible. And unfortunately, the woman is just heartbroken because she, got a dog that was supposed to be up to date on shots and heartburn for, it was it was just a mess. And she was already emotional about losing her dog and she wanted another lab because that's kind of her breed. And she had got dogs from this person before, thinking that the person was responsible. And after she spent a lot of money on health care for the dog, she wound up taking the dog back to the breeder. And the breeder was just like, "Oh, well, you can get another one." And she was like, "No, I'm not, and then she said, "Ginger, I know what you've always said about some breeders." And I was like, "Well, I hate that she found out that her breeder wasn't as responsible as she thought she was."
Yes, yes. And me never being in that world until I started almost 16 years ago, my mission for comparative cancer and one cancer after losing Malcolm. I never really had been in the world of breeders and rescues. I didn't know that world. And as I've learned, unfortunately, there are breeders that end up being hoarders. They have big hearts, and I don't want to get
Yes.
into of that because I know maybe they started off with big hearts and big intentions and maybe noble intentions, but they end up becoming hoarders, and it becomes a big mess. So I don't like that bill because it's so loose in its legalese. And secondly, Gingers, we also talked to Karen about is that the big problem is enforcement. You can have a law
Right.
you can have a law say, okay, well, so long as you're canine care certified as a breeder, okay, well, who's going to go out and enforce it? Who's funding? Who's funding that? Do you have proper funding? The state of Indiana have proper funding for people for certified people to go out and make sure that they're certified, so on and so forth. I don't want to belabor it, but it's just I thought, wow, we just had the episode with Karen. It was sad, it was powerful, and we love her line of merchandise that supports bailing out Benji. We still need to get bailing out Benji on the show. I'm quite certain they're familiar with this and what's going on. So let's go ahead, and we've got some fun
Well, I
things.
just want to say
Yep,
one
please.
thing. We have, through Puppy Up and you going through, walking from Austin to Boston, we did meet along the way some really responsible breeders.
Absolutely.
So I just did want to say that there are responsible breeders out there, but I think they're probably more irresponsible than responsible. But we really appreciate the ones who are truly responsible breeders.
Yeah, I met a ton of those actually, and I don't recall if I said that they're in the minority, the vast majority of minority of the animal people that I've met on my travels. But there are a lot of responsible breeders out there that want to make sure they want to maintain the purity of the breed, which I think is important. There are some people that believe let's just mix them all together, and I don't believe in that. I don't like that. That's a separate conversation. So there are a lot of responsible breeders. But my guess is that they're responsible breeders, though, Ginger. Let me ask you a question. If they're responsible breeders, would they be selling their puppies to pet stores?
No, no, they're not selling their puppies to pet stores. They
Right.
vet the people you know, um, who are purchasing, they don't really adopt one from a breeder, but I guess, and if something happens, your situation changes, then the dog would go back to that breeder.
Right.
Uh, you know, for us, if you remember, well, the dog's name just totally went right out of my mind. Oh my gosh, the Goldens.
I,
Anyway,
I can't help you with that. I'm not sure who you're
oh
referring
no,
to.
no, no.
Well, why you're trying to remember that though?
Okay, well, no, well, I'll just go on. But Nancy Simcoe's dog, Jojo. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Anyway, after unfortunately Nancy passed away, uh, his breeder contacted me and said, "Hey, you know that I'm supposed to get him back. That was the contract that we signed." And he was 10 years old, and the breeder was willing to take him back at 10. He did find a really good home, and she was happy with the home that he had, but she wanted to be happy. If she wasn't, I would have gone to Northwest Arkansas and picked up JoJo for her. But that's how responsible she is. I
Right.
mean,
It really is a solid example of a responsible breeder. And I was going to point out is that the responsible ones, you're right, or I was going to sort of extend that question I asked you in the logic of what you're saying is because responsible breeders, they want to have a relationship with the owner, the pet parent, right?
correct. Yes.
Because they also want to make sure they're acquiring health data and sharing health data because, as you were saying, like in Goldens, as we know, are predisposed to cancer.
Right.
The AKC breed, I always get the terminology incorrect, but as you know, some of those they really do a wonderful job of tracking certain breed specific diseases, and they want to
Correct.
have that, and they want to have that relationship with the pet parent because for all those reasons, and like you said, is they if there is in the case that the parent dies, then they'll adopt them back or bring them back in the family. So
Right.
wow, so this bill is a bad bill, and it seems like there probably are no responsible breeders. I don't want to say there are not any because that would be disqualifying of any, and I couldn't say such a sweeping statement, but it just seems as Ginger and I were talking logically that would be true. But we're always interested in hearing your feedback. You can email us at fuzzybuttstudios@gmail.com. I'm going to add that, Ginger, at the end. The people can submit their own comments and feedback and also news events via email so we can discuss those on our next one. All right. I think that we covered that thoroughly. Let's go on to the next one, which I'm excited about because it's a little fun one. That was pretty serious. Let's talk about right here. U.S. News ranks Florida's favorite dog breeds. All right. I thought that would be something fun for.
Florida's. Okay, I'm
I don't.
excited about to see this. The French dog.
Yeah, I
French
don't know.
bulldog.
Yeah, yeah, I'm assuming that's number one. I guess that's right, number one. But I don't know why they singled out Florida. But let's take a look. I thought it would be Oh, well, here's the most popular ones in dog breeds in the U.S. So let's go through these. And oh my God, Chihuahua. No, what are you? Chihuahua is number one, Ginger. You got,
Wait.
yeah, the 10 most popular dog breeds in the United States.
That cannot be. I mean, did they go in alphabetical order?
I don't, well, yeah,
No,
Chihuahua
no.
does come before French Bulldog, which comes
That
before
can't. A
Golden.
Chihuahua.
But
Okay, so I call them Chihuahuas just so I can figure out how to
yeah,
spell it when I need to.
yeah, there's a story
Um,
behind that. Yeah.
there are some really sweet Chihuahuas. There
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. You know what? I love Fuzzybutts of all flavors, as everyone knows, and I've met some very cool Chihuahuas. And I follow some wonderful Chihuahua accounts on X, formerly Twitter, and I love all the clothes. I love all the clothes they design. And but as you know, we talked about this before. If you look at the number two breeds, you've got the Chihuahuas and the Frenchies, and those I kind of hesitate to call them cultists, but they really are. The pet parents are like cults. They love them. They design clothes specifically for the breed, and I love it. But
Well, speaking of clothes for the breed,
yeah,
if you do have a French bulldog, Puppy Up has a shop, and we have a lot of really cute harnesses and leashes um, that were specifically made for French bulldogs. But obviously, they'll fit any dog. But they're really cute.
Puppy Up merchandise. Yeah, I've seen it. They're very, very cute. Go check it out. Great little promo.
Puppy Up, peppyup.org/shop.
There you go. Great little plug there for Puppy Up merch. We always need to do that. Okay, so
Shameless plug.
no, it wasn't. No, I trust me. I don't do shameless self promotion. I'm horrible at it myself, and that's why I don't want to do when I do sponsor commercials and sponsor ads. I just want to tell stories and just tell legit stories and personal stories because that's the kind of person I am. All right, let's continue because we got Ginger. We're gonna do. I'll go ahead and do a spoiler. At the end of this, once we get through the news, we are doing the puppy bowl. 2024 Puppy Bowl is coming up. And at the end of the news, I want to go through all of the participants. And so I've got that queued up. So we've got we got a heck of a show. So let's get through the other dog breeds that we have on here, or at least a couple of them. And so, not surprisingly, number three is the American favorite, the Golden Retriever, and then you've got the German Shepherd, the Shih Tzu, and so on and so forth. But two noticeable non-mentions on this list, which break my heart are Dachshunds and Great
Great
Pyrenees.
Pyrenees.
Dachshunds are always get the short end of the stick. Ba-dum.
That.
Yes. And then Great Pyrenees, man, they never win. They never win the dog shows. They never win anything. Maybe that's why, when they started calling me your big dog, I always should have said, no, I'm kind of the underdog. And I think that's why I love Pyrenees. They're the underdog. So, all right. I thought that would be a little bit of fun for this show. The next one, Ginger, the next on our list of news items, I'm very excited about. And I wanted to have some animal health in here in our segment, Fuzzybutts, in the news. And so this one is right up my alley. And this is, I'm sure you won't be surprised why I wanted to take this news item. So check this out. The story came from dailybeast.com. I always thought that was a political rag. I never go there. But anyway, I couldn't find this news source, this article anywhere else. But as I've talked about before, we've discussed previously with Dr. Jaime Modiano, who's working on AI and canine cancer. And so this is a story. I want to make sure that I get it correctly. This is a story of Copper Padilla. I hope I have the last name pronounced correctly, who was diagnosed with lymphoma. And there's a really cool company called Imprimed. And Ginger, I want to get them on the show. There's Copper right there. I want to get Imprimed on the show. And I don't know why I'm scrolling down. That distracts me. I'm one of those infinite scrolling kind of people. I always lose sight of things when I do. So I want to get Imprimed on the show. But what they do is they're using AIs predictive modeling ability to look at the lymphoma and then find specifically what type of lymphoma it is. They're able to differentiate the lymphoma cells, the cancer cells, into subtypes, and they can, and once they know, Ginger, what the subtype of the cancer lymphoma cells it is, then they are able to look at the 13 types of available lymphoma treatments and determine which would have the best outcome statistically in treating that lymphoma. So
Wow.
yeah, isn't that fascinating? That's really, really cool. Cheers to Imprimed. But so what this is not only a diagnostic tool, it also, as what we've talked about before, it's what we're calling AI targeted therapy. So AI now is helping with diagnostics, understanding specifically what type of cancer that we're looking at and dealing with, but more importantly, what's the drug or the therapeutic, not necessarily a chemo, but what's the therapeutic that would have the best outcome for your dog? Isn't that really cool?
That is cool. We
Yeah, I
do
want to
need
get
to
Imprimed off.
definitely need to have them on.
Yeah, we need to have them on, so I'd appreciate looking at that. But also, as you know, we want to do this with the Puppy Up Foundation. I want us to get in. We're already looking at and researching and talking to some groups about AI doing a study on AI and canine cancer research. So there's potentially as well maybe a collaboration with Imprimed, because I'm sure what they're going to do is they're probably going to take this cancer. I'm sorry, diagnostic and therapeutic predictive modeling AI technology, and they're probably going to start applying, looking for different use studies or use cases, is the current terminology. So they're probably looking for additional use cases or types of cancers. So yes, Imprimed, let's get them on the show. I don't want to nerd out a lot about this because you know I would, but it's very exciting, right?
It is very exciting. I don't know how many more articles you have to go, but I'm interested in the puppy bowl.
Yes, yes, yes. But oh my gosh, yeah, see, I'm all therapeutics and novel treatments and now novel diagnostics. I'm the nerd, and you're the cute puppy person. So we know that. I think
Yes,
our audience. I go ahead.
I do think that the AI is exciting. It is really exciting, but puppies are what draw me.
Well, that's what I was about to say. You're about cute fuzzy butts. You're about this, the cute fuzzy butt stories, and I'm all business. I'm all about anyway. I'm the nerd. I think our audience, if you've been with us long enough, I think they know that.
They know that, yeah.
All right, next on the news list, let me check this off. I'm kind of like doing the David Letterman top 10 type deal. Okay, I need to go to another page. All right, Ginger, this is the story I wanted you to cover because you know more about uh, problem puppy dogs than I. You know more about the behavioral aspects of it. I only know this because all of my fuzzy butts, all of my Great Pyrenees have had problems. They've all been problem dogs, as you know, especially my current two. So I only know this on the client side of the story. But I found this off of X, formerly Twitter, under Canine Health or Canine News. Here's a story about pandemic puppy owners. They're struggling with bad behavior. So take it away. What did we learn about this?
Well, what the headline tells you is the pandemic puppy owners are struggling with bad behavior, and say vets, say pet owners, say everybody. It's interesting. I think we were talking about earlier that anybody that tells me now that they have a problem with their dog that's 3 or 4 years old, I just asked them when they got it, and for sure it was either 2020 or early 21. So, the problems that they have are they have a lot of behavior problems. They have a lot of separation anxiety. Um, and what the article mentions is that the pet owners really don't know how to deal with it. And a lot of times they're yelling at the dogs to get them to stop the behavior, or they're using some type of negative reinforcement on that, and it's not really working for them because it's not positive. But one of the things, as you know, Luke, I fostered 7 puppies starting on May 6th of 2020. And I was not hungover from the whole Cinco de Mayo, but I was crazy that I took 7 of them in. But I did my best during the pandemic because I've been around puppies. I train puppies. I just know that if they don't get a lot of socialization and they're not exposed to a lot of things early on, like within the first really 4 months of their life, you can have issues with them later on. And from the puppies that we have is kind of funny. I mean, I was really stopping anybody walking down the street that I could see, and say, hey, can you play with my puppy for a minute? Socially, 6 feet apart, kind of like in that kind of deal. And I would have people come over to visit them. But as best I could do, there's some of them still have some, a few issues. And the funny thing is, like Kelly, my own dog, is I got one of the puppies, so she's a pandemic puppy. And she does pretty well with people for the most part and other dogs, but it's objects. If the person happens to be carrying, we were walking down the street one day and a person was carrying a cooler, just your red, the white top, red bottom cooler, Pullman, I guess it is. I don't know what it is. But and she was totally just lost it, just backing up and barking. And they're like, oh, she doesn't like people. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's the cooler. And they put down the cooler and she kind of responded and, recovered a little bit, but not totally. This cooler was still sitting there. So, you have issues with, separation anxiety, like I mentioned earlier, just kind of behavior things. At the same time, people were not being able to train their puppies. And so they were, it took probably 2 years before a lot of places were letting you have a training class with all the puppies in it. And so even at that part, if you didn't stick with it, some of the behaviors were their dogs were jumping up. Now that's a behavior that's not necessarily a pandemic behavior, but they didn't have the right training to keep their dog from jumping up. So now you can teach an old dog new tricks. So if you're having problems with your pandemic puppy, go to a training class, get in touch with a trainer to help you, a positive reinforcement trainer, to help you deal with those issues with the puppies.
Yep. And also the article mentions that this also seems to be some of the source of this problem seems to be stemming from the reality that people were actually going back to puppy mills and bad breeders.
Oh, yeah.
During the pandemic, some of pet parents were getting their puppies from non-reliable sources, and they have problems that are baked in. They have maybe potentially PTSD, hopefully not, maybe from abhorrent, horrible conditions or something else. So somehow the theme always goes back to that. But yes, even if you do, unfortunately, even if you did, love your puppy dog, and as Ginger said, find a trainer and just love them and work through the problems. It never works with my Fuzzybutts, Ginger. I've never seemed to be able to love mine enough to work through their problems with me. Just today, I was taking Nana Banana out for a walk, and he kind of leaned over and kind of growled at me. But the old lad is in a little bit of pain, so
I don't know why he loves me more than he does you.
Well, that's a software problem with him. That's a system error with him. So, all right.
Reboot.
Yeah, all right. Let's keep moving on. I need to close these as we move on. All right, and I want to also do, every time we do the news, I do want to do, because we've been talking about puppy mills and cancer and this and that, and flu, and or not flu, but I guess the canine flu, whatever's going on right now. So I wanted to insert this in and have some fun with this, because I love cross-species relationships, as you know. And this is a wonderful story. It's got a ton of ads in it. So this story is about a runaway parrot reunites with its owner and its canine best friend. So in this really funny, cute article, we've got a parrot who got loose, and there you go. I guess you're speaking of Indiana Jones. I guess she has to get him up. He's probably squawking about something. He's probably trying to get loose, as a matter of fact, and he's trying to get out of here. All right. So what I love about this is you got this you got this parrot named Ernie, and for some reason he escaped. He got loose, and Ernie has his best friend is Lottie, this beautiful little. I would imagine say this is a mixed breed, cute little puppy dog named Lottie, and they're best mates. And so Ernie got away, he escaped, and Lottie went nuts. And so it's a happy story. It's a happy, funny Fuzzybutt story. Fuzzybutts. It's a fun Fuzzybutts in the news story. So thank God Ernie returned. I don't know why, how they got him back, or how he returned, but Ernie came back. They've been reunited. Ginger, Lottie, and Ernie are back together again.
That's great. I hate it when they're. I hate it. Well, I got a little distracted by Indiana, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that they're back together. But the cross species relationships are really special, I think.
Yep, horses and goats, pigs and dogs. Yeah,
On TikTok, I watched one, and for the life of me, I couldn't tell you who it was I watched, but they have one of those mini Highland cows, I think it is, and his best friend is a duck, and the duck won't get in the water if the cow doesn't get in the water first.
Oh my God. Well, maybe let's do that next time, because this inspired me, because you and I both love it. It's so fascinating, because it just goes to show us that obviously animals are much more complex, and they view companionship much more complexly than we've always thought they would. And now we can capture it on film. With all this wonderful technology we have, and we can see it now, and it's helping us learn more about the nature of cross-species companionship. So, Ginger, let's do every time we do Fuzzy Butts in the news, let's do one. Maybe let's get that cow and his duck. And
I think it's milkshake and dumpling. But
I especially want to see the fact that the duck won't get in the water, which ducks are supposed to, but the duck won't get in the water unless.
Yeah, the duck will not get in the water if the cow doesn't go first.
You know, I probably should have saved this one. Well, that's wonderful. I think we're going to do that for every Fuzzy Butts in the News episode. Cross species companionship. All right. You know, I probably should have ended up with that one, but we do have the puppy bowl. I do that every time. Every time there's a puppy bowl, because you know what, Puppy Up should be sponsoring it. That's why. Puppy Up should be sponsoring it, but Best Friends does, and we know Best Friends, and we love them as well for the work they do. But maybe at some point in the future, Puppy Up can partner with the Puppy Bowl. But before we get to that, I do want to add a segment to our Fuzzy Butts in the News, Ginger, that I think is important. And I think maybe we don't do enough. And again, if people want to contribute to this, you're more than welcome. We have to remember our fellow Fuzzy Butts who have passed away. And so for this episode, I found two. So I'm not sure if you've heard of this, Ginger, but the lovely Uga, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I'm not a University of Georgia fan. Don't really have time for football, college football. Don't really have time for much of anything like that. But we love the mascots, and Ginger, she passed away at 10 recently, and you can see Uga was.
Hear that?
Yeah. She's a famous mascot. As the article says, Ginger, she's the winningest most mascot in University of Georgia's history. So she's not only a beautiful baby, but she's also
it was good luck for them.
It was. I love that photograph. I just see the effect in
she's
there.
Beautiful.
She is. And unfortunately, though, the Ginger, they don't mention how she passed away, which I think that's unfortunate because, well, especially a public dog like this, because I always wonder if it's cancer, which you and I know can be found in bulldogs. But I just think that's important data that the public needs to know. So anyway, that's my own personal thought, but she's a beauty. Uga's a beauty. And to the University of Georgia, our thoughts and are with you, and our love is with you for the loss of your mate. All right, Ginger, next up, I want to do another in memoriam. This is kind of interesting. I don't know this. I just came across the story, and I'm not really a WWE fan, and I don't know this particular wrestler or artist. I'm not sure how they refer to themselves, But so the story, there's this WWE Hall of Famer. Her name is Lita. That's her wrestling name. Her real name is Amy Dumas, I think is pronounced correctly. But Ginger, she lost her puppy dog, her Fuzzybutt Mackenzie. And the only photograph of Mackenzie, that's not Mackenzie, that's an advertisement, is this Instagram photo right here, Ginger.
Oh, where she
Uh,
was holding the, okay.
yeah, I thought I thought that was an advertisement. Then I realized, okay, that's Mackenzie.
I
Uh,
was trying to figure out like what kind of tree that was from the way she was holding Mackenzie. But it says that Mackenzie was 20 years old. Okay,
20,
how
yeah,
20 years old? I mean, it's difficult when you lose a dog, but oh my gosh, 20 years. That
yeah.
is like amazing.
And Lita, the wrestler, the mom, Mackenzie's mom, would take her on the road, and so look, she got 47,000 likes. So apparently, Mackenzie was beloved by all of her fans, and she was a roadie, went on the show with her mom. And I hopefully she didn't perform wrestling maneuvers with her mom. I'm quite sure because Mackenzie looks like, yes, she looks like a shrub, could be a shrub, but maybe some type of poodle mix or something like that.
Yeah. She
All
could have been tough though, you
well,
know.
sounds like her mom was tough. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. All right. Our hearts and love go out to Lita, Amy Dumas, and for her loss of Mackenzie. All right, Ginger, you asked for this segment, and this is perhaps what you've been waiting for the entire time. As you know, in 2 weeks' time, a little less than 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, we have this year's Puppy Bowl coming up. So I thought we'd take a moment and look at the, what do you call these, teammates, or what is it, the lineup?
The lineup, it's the official lineup.
And it's the Puppy Bowl 20. XX is 20, I guess. And so, well, but the Super Bowl's been,
Team Rough.
I guess that's confusing because I know the Super Bowl's been going on a lot longer than 20, but I guess the Puppy Bowl has not. I guess
It has not, yeah.
that's why it confused me. All right. All right. First up in the lineup is Bart Purdy, a Chihuahua.
On Team Rough.
Team Rough. Okay, that's one of the teams. I guess we have two teams.
That is, oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Their photography.
Sharp.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The photography is wonderful. I was gonna give a shout out to Sacramento SPCA because, as you know, that these are almost all shelter dogs, Ginger, or some of
They're
them,
all shelter dogs.
all shelter dogs. So the Puppy
Or
Bowl.
shelters or rescues. So
Yeah, I should mention this is Animal Planet Discovery. So shout out to those because they make sure they're all rescue dogs that are part of the Puppy Bowl team lineup. So Bark Purdy, then we got Cronut, awesome name. Look at that Shar-Pei.
she's cute.
She's also Team Fluff. Wait, was that also
Now
Team?
he was Team Rough.
All right, Team Fluff and Team
Fluff.
Rough. All right, that's for dyslexic dude and all the pathologies I have. It makes it a little bit hard. All right, Striker. I think we got a lot of teammates. So we got Striker. Oh, who was? Sorry about that. The Shar-Pei Rescue of Virginia out of Chesapeake, Virginia. If you're in that area, support them, and you're into Shar-Peis. Thank you for what you do. Striker, Border Collie mix, and a handsome one at that.
Really cute.
From Green Dogs Unleashed in Troy, Virginia. Then on representing Team Fluff, we have Harvey the Pug. Look at that little feller.
You know who he kind of reminds me of?
Who's that?
George.
It looks like George. Yeah, Michelle's
Yeah.
George. Yeah, he does. I'm curious, is he a pug or is he a pug mix? Harvey.
I thought he's a pug, but I
Yeah.
don't know. He has kind of a scruffy face. So
All right. Representing or from, I guess, Pug Nation, LA and Gardenia, California. All right. Next
he's
up.
on team. He was on Team Fluff. Now this is Vanessa is on Team Rough.
She looks like it, doesn't she, Vanessa? She looks like she's been on the street. She knows the routine. She's somebody you don't want to mess with, right?
She looks like an ankle biter to me.
I don't know. I don't think I want to mess around with Vanessa, but she's a beauty and she's from Brandywine Valley SPCA in Westchester, PA. I know that place very well. I think maybe I walked through there. All right, next up, representing Team Fluff, we've got Francine the pug, and she's from Rescue Dogs Rock, New York City. And she's a beauty. That's more of a traditional pug, though, right?
Exactly. The other one looked really kind of scruffy. I guess maybe it was a pug mix.
She's
I say,
she looks like she's a serious player right there. All right, oh my God, all right, we got some branding going on. We got Guy Fieri, Shepherd and Poodle mix.
on Team Rough.
Yeah, why don't they call him a Shoodle? That sounds pretty cool. Shoodle. That I think that name has legs, paws. I think that name has paws. We'll discuss that on another
What
episode.
would you call the mix between a Shih Tzu and a poodle?
No, I know that joke. You're not gonna set me up. All right. Guy Fieri is from One Tail at a Time. Cute name, Chicago, Illinois. Good luck to you and Team Rough. We've got Moosh, Team Rough, also on Team Rough, an Australian Shepherd mix. Boy, what a handsome kid, Ginger.
Yes, I'm glad I don't live anywhere close to Troy, Virginia.
Lots of dogs from, I think that's the second one from Troy, Virginia. This
It
one,
is,
yeah.
yes, from Green Dogs
All
Unleashed.
right, you guys need to branch out more across the United States. Well, here we're talking about another area for the United States, New Orleans, Take Paws Rescue. Here we go. Talk about doxies. Doxies have always got to be in the top 10 of everything. Come on, are you kidding me? And this one we got Beignet, of course, being from
I love it.
Beignet. Yeah, from I don't know.
I gotta go. I'm taking a trip to New Orleans. See ya.
Yeah. I want beignet. I want that beignet. Have her with a cup of chicory from Cafe Du Monde. I wonder if Cafe Du Monde was sponsors. I wonder if Cafe Du Monde sponsors Take Paws Rescue. If not, you guys need to. Beignet's a beauty. All right. All right, here we got Mr. Bean. I'm a big fan of his. I just forgot his name, Rowan Atkinson. I like more of his Black Adder British comedy, but Mr. Bean, he's a character, and this guy looks like a character, don't you think, Ginger?
He does. I think this one and the little Yorkie are going to be buds.
Yeah, yeah.
Team Rough.
Yeah, I'm not keeping the line up in my head, so unfortunately, I'm just having to roll with it.
From Barky Pines Animal Rescue and Sanctuary in West Palm Beach, Florida.
There you go. Give them a shout out for Mr. Bean. All right, Lady Luck is up next, representing Team Rough from Nevada SPCA. Nevada from Las Vegas is where they're from. Well, she looks, I don't know, doesn't she look maybe more like cheerleader material, or
she does kind of look like a cheerleader, but you know, she's probably pretty tough.
I was gonna say, or does she have that southern like cheerleader, but just really a tough gal, a tough southern gal? Nevada's not in the South, but you know, yeah. But I've known a couple of Nevada gals, and they were pretty tough. So
Beignet's gonna, Beignet.
I do think one of the coolest things about Puppy Bowl is to see how all the characters, the whole cast of characters, how they interact. I think that's all.
Yeah, I get a big bowl of treats for the dogs and some popcorn for me, and we typically sit and watch the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, all right. I'm not sure. Do you know how many there are? Because they're saying there's 119 panels here, and I'm not sure we're going to do 119.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it past that far in, or we'll be in the next week's episode. So
yeah, do you have any idea how many there are?
I think there are usually.
I don't.
Of course, there are alternates. You know how that works.
Well, maybe that's what it is, or maybe they just try to promote as many rescue pets as they can. So that you're right. Well, we've done 12. I think this is 12. We'll make this the last one. Well, I might scroll through a couple of more just to see. But you're right. We got to wrap this up. We do try to keep this at an hour every time, and then we have to do the update, Ginger, about the upcoming March 16th anniversary of the Puppy Up Foundation and the Walk One that started this whole thing. So here we have Linus. Of course, that's a Linus. Linus has to be a hound mix. It looks perfectly like the Peanuts character Linus from the Ronnie Stanley Foundation in Baltimore. As I've learned walking through there, you don't pronounce it with a T, you pronounce it with a D, or at least they do there. Handsome looking kid. All right, Patrick Mabones. That's awesome. Sonny, let's give a shout out to Fred. Levi, Great Dane, man, Levi's gonna. Oh man, would you want to? Levi's got to be the linebacker. Would you want to go up against that linebacker?
Well, you know what's going to happen is the little ones, Beignet and the Yorkie and the one that we thought would be the cheerleader, they're going to just run underneath him.
Well, do you remember?
He's not going to know where they are.
Well, he looks like a big sweetheart anyway, so I'm not sure he's going to be
Does,
stopping him. Yeah, but you remember on Walk One, speaking of, we did an event in New York City with it was the Toy Dog Club, and we had Hudson and Murphy were there, and Jesus Ginger was like we were in the land of Lilliputians, man. It's like they were all so nervous they were going to step on the toy dogs, who were freaking out. They were excited, and I swear to God, some of the little toy dog parents some of them are very sensitive people and very, very nervous. I think some of them just kindly left because they were scared that like Murphy was going to sit or squash them. So, but I'm sure,
calling them snacks was probably not a good idea.
yeah, Scooby Snacks. Yeah. All right. Lee, let's go through a couple more. All right. I think that's it. That's the lineup. We went through that. All right. Let me go ahead and stop the screen share, Ginger. That completes Fuzzybutts in the News, our first episode. What'd you think?
I liked it.
It was fun, don't you think?
It was fun. Yep.
And serious and inspiring. We got to follow with the Imprimed and learn more about technology, get them on the show, and maybe some other folks on here. All right, Ginger, as we wind down this episode, we wanted to talk about the upcoming March 16th, 2024, 16th anniversary of Walk One and sort of the founding of Puppy Up. So what do we have in store?
Well, I thought you would talk about the art auction. We're going to do an art auction. We want people to donate $16 for our 16th year. By March 16th or on March 16th. I do believe we're going to have a walk 16 miles a month with your dog and donate $16. Get people, get your friends to donate $16 for you to walk with your dog. We've got a lot of fun things that are going to come up for that, but we're also going to have an art auction. So stay tuned for that information.
Yeah, well, I always start things off. It seems like of course, I know I talk the most because I'm the most competent and capable of doing so.
Of course you are.
I wanted to see if you would catch that. But
not at all.
But yes, I am, and I knew it would take a minute too, as well, because I won't take too much time. But I've become, as you know, sort of a legit artist and collector of art, digital artworks, and NFTs, they're often called. But NFTs kind of get a bad name. But on Twitter, X, which is relevant, because, and so over the past year, we wanted to do this last year with Walk 3 and for Hudson's Hope and so on and so forth, but there were so many moving parts. The walk I won't say it was a disaster.
Except for the parts that weren't moving, right?
Well, Walk 3 just logistically became a nightmare. It became a nightmare, and it was very hard. And so we just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. And so, but since then, I've met so many wonderful, beautiful artist friends I've made who are also animal lovers. And so they know about the Puppy Up Foundation, and they know about my Fuzzybutts, Grayson in Indiana. And so I pitched the idea to some of them. I kind of put it out there in the community. And so we've had a number of artists that are excited about it. And so we're going to have them who are going to be making, designing, creating their own digital artworks, and we're going to have an art auction. And so I have a show on an X space on X, or formerly Twitter. It's called the Creative Minds Forge, and it's about art and art themes and art topics and the community and so on and so forth. And so I usually get somewhere between 350 to 500 people in the audience. So it's a pretty popular show. Some of the episodes are very popular. And so what I'm going to do is on the 16th, we don't know yet, Ginger, but that's a Saturday. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to host the live auction on X, Twitter. And so the artists that have donated their art will come in and present their art and discuss their artwork. And I don't know how we're going to tie that to the auction, because it will be an ongoing auction. We have a lot of technology to figure out. We have a meeting with Dennis tomorrow. But the good news is, and I don't want to scare people off, is that we're going to do it on Tezos, on Object, the Tezos chain, which probably means nothing to most nearly everybody who's sane. But they have a way for people to buy art using U.S. currency, to using the dollar, using their credit card. So it will be an open auction. We're going to have a ton of beautiful, awesome animal art, and perhaps other artwork donated by a lot of legit artists. I mean, these are people from all over the world, Ginger.
Sounds
And
exciting. I can't wait to
wow,
see the art.
I'm so great. I'm so grateful to have built this wonderful community of thousands, now thousands of legitimate artists doing some really innovative, creative, beautiful art all over the world. And they love animals too. So that's what I love. And I've always wanted to bring my art to end with my animal side. And I've always been a little bit hesitant because some artists are dark and they don't like animals. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm excited about it. So that's March 16th. We don't have the time set yet, but we'll probably have, I don't know how many artworks we're going to have donated, but I'm also going to have photographs from Walk One in there so people can buy a copy of that. Yes, you're right-clicking, saving a JPEG, but it's not going to be expensive art. It's not going to be, but there will be an auction, so we'll see. But it's going to be wonderful things to collect. And it's a part of our history because I'm sure I'll be telling stories about the photographs and our artwork as well. So we're excited about that. So stay tuned, everybody. I'm sure probably every episode up until March 16th, Ginger will probably be making an announcement and an update, right? But we have a lot of work to figure out to do with the technology, which it shouldn't be that complicated. But speaking of, we have a meeting with Dennis tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So we should have an update next episode on episode 4, and maybe some more links because we want everybody to get excited about it, start seeing the art. Oh, that's what I was forgetting. I knew when I start to drag my feet and repeat myself, it's because I feel like there's something I forgot. And there is, Ginger. I think what we're going to do for episode 4 is I'm going to have some of our artists, my artist friends, who are donating their artwork for the auction to come on the show and talk about their artwork and their animal art and their love of Fuzzybutts. So we should have a special episode 4 of Fuzzybutts and Friends next week for you. All right? I
Cool.
I think that's it. I forgot, I must say, on the AI lymphoma story about copper, I forgot that I was going to segue and tie you into your cancer tip of the week because that would have been perfect lymphoma to talk about lumps and bumps. So I don't know. We've done that. You've done that every episode.
I talk about lumps and bumps all the time, but this is not what was going to talk about this
So
time.
you do have, hold on a second. So you do have a Puppy Up Foundation Canine Cancer Tip of the Week. Go ahead, please.
I do, and we are at the end of, well, actually, yep, we're at the tail end of January, and February is National Dental Month, Canine Dental Month, or Pet Dental Month. And so I was going to urge everybody to get their pet's teeth cleaned, and then the vet can thoroughly look in their mouth for any abnormalities, back to lumps and bumps, just not the lymphoma, looking in their mouth for any types of lumps and bumps. And you should be doing this as well every month or so, or as we brush our dog's teeth every day, which yes, no, I don't do that, but some people do, and you can use a toothbrush or put the little thing on your finger. So feel around in their mouths to make sure there are no lumps and bumps. And obviously, if you find any abnormalities, see your veterinarian. And also, just bad breath could be an issue as well. So.
Yes, we know oral melanoma. We talked about it before on the show. It's aggressive. You need to catch it early. That's important. Just sage advice and good advice. Although you're right, I'm not so good about brushing my kids' teeth, but it's important to do. If you can't do it daily, try to do it weekly, or at least at a minimum, get your dog's teeth checked out every year at your annual vet visit, because that's for sure, because at least they'll do it. But again, at least try to keep an eye, maybe when they're eating, kind of keep an eye on your kids' gums. I'm always messing with Indiana.
And an FYI, since February is the dental month, a lot of veterinarians do give a discount if you get your pet's teeth cleaned in February.
Excellent. That's good.
So Smiley has his appointment on Monday.
Smiley should. You'd think if there is a dog that should have perfect teeth, it would be Smiley. You would think. Maybe you can get a deal with the vet for Smiley being the promo. I
there
guess
you go. Yeah, exactly.
Poster dog for All right, Ginger, as we wind down the show, is there anything I screwed up this time? I know I did, probably everything. We never know. So what's your take on that?
No, I think it was perfect.
Okay, yeah, I think you said that every time.
Perfect.
I do. I try to take pretty good notes and I try to stick on script, but it's hard to do this back and forth. But one thing, if I did screw something up on this show or this episode in reading the news or trying to attribute the news, you can email us or, and more importantly, Ginger, if you have Fuzzybutt news, something you would like to share with us, something that's going on, you've got a company that has another new technology or there's anything, or there's a dog, just anything that you have that you think would be of interest, I think, to our audience, Ginger, you can email us at any time at fuzzybuttstudios@gmail.com. I look at those, I'll get them, and then we'll put that in the queue then for our next Fuzzy Butts in the News. What do you think about that? Yep, there's my co-host just sneezed and the mic. All right, we like to end the show always professionally, always perfectly. What a way to do that, Ginger. You always keep the show entertaining. All right, everyone. Well, we are done with this episode. Thank you for joining us. You can we drop it every Tuesday. Try to do it at midnight, but sometimes not so much. But you'll find it on your podcast platform, iHeartRadio or Spotify. I love Spotify. I love both of them. You can find them there. We're on a few others. I'm not sure if we're on all of them yet. I need to check that out. You can also watch this episode, which I think this is a news. I think all the episodes are newsworthy. And Ginger, I think I took some of the yellow out of my
A
camera.
little bit, yeah.
I don't think I got it all though, as I look at myself. So something going on with my camera, but I think we're entertaining. I think it's entertaining. We do like to show pictures of Fuzzybutts, so you can check it out. You can watch this show on our YouTube channel, which is fuzzybuttstudios.com. That's it, everyone. Until next week, Ginger. We'll see you then. Puppy up. Talk soon.
Bye.